And we're live. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Endless Endeavor podcast. Today we're back with one of my favorite guests, and that guest is fucking me, motherfuckers. I'm my own guest today. Another solo show. Is it arrogant to say I'm one of my favorite people? I don't think so. Take care of yourself first, and then you're good for others, right? And so, as usual, in the fucking world that we live in, there's a lot of crazy shit going on, and I like to use this platform to shine a spotlight on it, discuss it, get some perspective out there, and I'm always very careful because I want you guys to listen to this show and consume this form of media, but not consume it in a triggering manner. I think that's dangerous. I think most media outlets, and a lot of podcasts included, they want people triggered. They want people to have cortisol in their blood because for whatever reason, people are attracted to any type of conflict. They're attracted to any type of anything that's out of alignment in their life, and they give energy to that. And so I've been saying it for 2 years now, is that we discuss the problems that are in our society, not in a way to get mad and be pissed off, but to know our adversaries, know what's down the road, know what's coming, and prepare accordingly. And we can prepare accordingly from a place of love, a place of happiness, a place of contentness. And I think that's an important mindset to embrace. And it's a hard mindset to embrace. I literally drove to my papa's house yesterday and had a talk with him. And it was an emotional talk. I was welling up at times, and it was because the world wears on me. And I feel like there is inevitably going to be conflict in the future. And, something interesting he said to me, he's like, Greg, we don't have to be fearful of this. And I was like, whoa, hold on a second. Let me be clear of where I'm at on all this stuff. There's no fear in my heart at all. None. Zero. I don't fear this adversary. I never have, and I never will. But what does have an emotional response to me and make me sad and make me think about it, it's like at some point, standing up against the elitist class will cost you your life. And I don't necessarily mean your physical body will cease to exist, although that is a very high and likely possibility. But the world as you know it, the life that you're living, it no longer exists once you take a public stand and fight for what you believe to be morally and ethically correct. That's how it's been since the beginning of history. And so you have to weigh, what life do you want to live? Do you want to live the life that is comfortable, the life where you're running your business, the life where your children are happy, the life where you share special relationships with people? Or do you want to live the life where you are sacrificing all those things with the intent of building a better future for those same people that you love? And to tell you the truth, guys, it's something I struggle with. I struggle with it often. And it gets me down sometimes because the truth is I don't know the right answer. And I struggle with that at times because on one hand, it's like the time to take this country back was yesterday. And then on the other hand, I'll tell myself, you know what? All these coward, weak motherfuckers that just let the government trample all over them and fucking subjugate them and steal all their money through taxes and force all these mandates on them. The people that just bend a knee and accept it, that's not worth giving up my livelihood and my role as father to this family for those motherfuckers. And so I don't know what the right answer is. It's something I think about often. But it makes me think about a quote. And it's a long quote, but I'm going to read it to you guys. And it's from Alexander Solzhenitsyn. And he is the gentleman that wrote the Gulag Archipelago. And those were the Russian Gulag internment camps. I've read that book. I've talked about it on the show before. And it is literally some of the most horrific things that human beings can do to other human beings. And you know what? We've been seeing human beings doing horrific things to other human beings since the beginning of time. Look at the medieval times, all the way up into Nazi Germany, or even as recent as 2 or 3 years ago, the stuff ISIS was doing to people. Human beings are violent, vile fucking creatures at times. And I don't think any of us are immune to that. I just think it depends on our circumstances, what we're pushed to, and what we're willing to do. And so I saw this quote from Alexander Solzhenitsyn, and it's very applicable to modern times. The quote reads, "The most terrifying force of death comes from the hands of men who wanted to be left alone. They try so very hard to mind their own business and provide for themselves and those they love. They resist every impulse to fight back, knowing the forced and permanent change of life that will come from it. They know from the moment they fight back, their lives as they have lived them are over. The moment the men who wanted to be left alone are forced to fight back, it is a form of suicide. They are literally killing off who they used to be, which is why, when forced to take up violence, these men who wanted to be left alone fight with an unholy vengeance against those who murdered their former lives. They fight with a raw hate and a drive that cannot be fathomed by those who are merely play acting at politics and terror. True terror will arrive on these people's doorsteps, and they will cry, scream, and beg for mercy, but it will fall upon the deaf ears of the men who just wanted to be left alone." I posted that on Instagram yesterday, which today is the 22nd of June, and it got a huge response. And it's not surprising, because that quote is powerful. You know, I've had some people say, like, quotes are bullshit. Come up with your own stuff and post it. Shut the fuck up. That's such a stupid thing to say, because other human beings that have lived through tumultuous times and navigated difficult situations, they have some fucking insight. And that's what their quotes are. It is literally them sharing their insight. And so when I read that, I was like, wow, this was a Soviet dissident who was in the internment camps. And if you read the book, it's interesting because he was a high-ranking military official. And the reason that the Russian secret police threw him in the internment camps is because they believed he held the power to potentially motivate and have the resources available to stand against them. They said him and his soldiers had the ability to take on the Russian secret police. And because of that, they got out ahead of the problem. And they said, you know what? You're a powerful leader. You're a guy that people look up to. You're a guy that has men and resources. You're coming with us. And they got rid of him. And listening to what he endured is it's painful. It's insane. But to hear him say those words is not surprising. The people that just want to be left alone are us. It's me. It's you. I literally wish I could teach jujitsu, teach firearms, build cabins on my property, raise my kids. I mean, I literally wish I could do that. That would be fucking awesome. But the more and more we go down this path where the political elite and the world economic leaders, I say that in quotation marks, want to have some type of power or influence over us, they're backing us into a corner where it's just like, hey, motherfuckers, I just want to be left alone. I just want to be left alone. And once you arrive at the point where you have to come to the conclusion, I can no longer be left alone. Well, what does that mean? A lot of people are coming to that conclusion. A lot of people are arriving at that point. My inbox has a lot of messages like, when are we going to take this country back? We need a strong leader to motivate people. We need to get rid of these vile, corrupt criminals that have infiltrated our political system. And that's what they are. Make no mistake about it. That is what they are. And that is why I'm not afraid to talk about this publicly. You know, people say, bro, you're gonna be on some watch lists. And it's like, okay, well, anybody that's watching me or listening to me has to know deep down inside of their hearts that I'm right. If you work for the DOJ and you're part of one of the 3-letter agencies, you are either in with the corruption or you understand who these people are that are above you and what they stand for and who they are. And so when the time comes, you can follow orders like a cuck fucking bitch, or you can stand up with integrity and you can stand up and be on the side of right. But that choice is going to be yours. And to tell you the truth, the longer we go on in the post-COVID era, where we saw massive amounts of just blind compliance by law enforcement officers. I don't want to take the jab, but I have to. I don't want to close your business, but I have to. All those coward fuckers that did that, guess what? They'll do it again. And when the stakes are higher, they will subjugate you even more so. And so, you know, I like to look at the situation that we're facing and shine light on it. But in order to shine light in the corners where all the shadows are hiding, we have to discuss those dark corners. And we have to understand what's inside of them, who's in them, what created them, and all the little nuances. You know, all the cops that got vaccinated in Washington just to keep their jobs. And again, if you got vaccinated because you thought it was a good idea, well, I'm sorry to hear that. But you were not the class of people I'm talking to. The class of people I'm talking to is the ones that knew they didn't want to do it. They didn't like being forced into something. But instead of having a fucking spine and saying, you know what, this feels off to me, and I'm not going to be part of this little fucking dog and pony show you guys are playing. Go fuck yourselves. The people that aren't willing to do that are the same people that will follow the orders when the time comes to take our jobs, impose martial law because of blackouts or whatever the fuck it may be, right? But there's different things I want to talk about. And it starts with the government continuously chipping away at us. And it's not just on a federal level. It's in our own backyards. And when are we going to say we've had enough? I don't know if this is in every state, but in Washington state, they have something called use tax. Use tax is for business owners that own equipment. Any piece of equipment that you own that you utilize in a professional capacity, and for me, being a gym owner, my partner that runs the CrossFit side of the business, I'm upstairs, I run the jiu-jitsu side, and my partner runs the CrossFit side downstairs. We're a 2-level facility. He has to pay use tax on every piece of equipment every year. He has to pay tax on every kettlebell, every bumper plate, every ski erg, every rower, every squat rack, and on and on and on. The fucking state is charging you to own your own equipment. I would really fucking love for any human being on planet Earth, you have a free fucking pass to the show, to come in here and explain to me how the fucking government can charge you a tax to own your own equipment. Fuck you. People should be strung up for that. You know, all these cocksuckers in government that propose this legislation and this different tax and all the shit that they do behind the scenes. They've never been a small business owner. They've never been an entrepreneur. And what they don't understand is it's a long and arduous path to any kind of success. My gym was open for, I'd say, 5 years before we started seeing it produce a decent amount of revenue in the green. We struggled for a long time. But statistically, most new businesses, they don't just struggle for a long time. They struggle so hard that they don't make it. I don't remember what the statistic is exactly, but the overwhelming majority of new businesses do not see the 5-year mark. Well, I wonder why that is. Probably because money in versus money out is not sustainable. You know, business is a very simple concept. My fucking dad, who is me times 10. He came from nothing and became extremely wealthy, selling cars, being a commercial fisherman, buying real estate, doing things that weren't necessarily difficult. You didn't have to have some fucking medical degree to do these things, but he was always smart. He was always savvy with his money and his choices. And he said, bro, business is easy. You don't need to fucking go to the University of Washington for 4 years and get a business degree to learn how to make money. I can teach you about business in 25 seconds. When I buy a car for $500 and I sell it for $650, that's good business. When I buy a different car for $500 and no one's willing to buy it and I have to take $450 for it, that's fucking bad business. He goes, if you look at concepts like that, he goes, the money's made on the buy, meaning whatever is going to generate your revenue, you have to understand its worth before you buy it. Now, for a car, that's a physical item, right? But for something like my gym, I have to understand the worth of what the product I'm going to offer before I bring it to the table. And I have to understand what I'm going to be selling to the community and what kind of value that has. And I can tell you from experience, it was a long process because I knew the value that I offered. I knew the value that my gym would have. But it was a long process to convince enough members of the community through showing them that what I was saying was true and correct. And now, 7 years later, I finally had arrived at a point where we have enough members where this gym is a feasible way to be able to live my life and raise my family. But my whole point of going off on this tangent is how the fuck can the government say, you have to pay me to have that kettlebell every year? Not only did I have to pay sales tax when I purchased it, but now I basically am renting it from you because I have to pay you every year. Fuck you. Things need to change. Property tax is the same thing because the housing market went up pretty dramatically over the last 18 months or whatever it's been. Property taxes have went up. I was at my papa's house yesterday, and he has a house on Lake Stevens that he bought in the 60s. And now as a 78-year-old man, or whatever he is, his property taxes went up $400 a month. So now he has to pay $1,000 a month to live in his own house that he paid off fucking decades ago. And he said, Greg, I no longer feel like a homeowner. I feel like I'm renting from Snohomish County. And that should be a fucking problem. That should be a problem for everybody because we work day in and day out. Or people like him, they worked an entire lifetime. And now are living off their savings or their investments or businesses they built. But regardless, when you're in your 70s, your grind is over. Now you're living off of the fruits of your labor. But if you're living within your means, but the government keeps turning up the dial, you're going to find yourself, he's going to find himself as a 90-year-old man without enough funds to pay this fucking corrupt government. And we should be concerned about that. Property tax. I literally have to pay the government to own my piece of property that I paid for on my own. The government doesn't contribute at all. They don't contribute to anything. They're like a fucking leech, and they take, and they take, and they take, and they take with zero contribution. Now, I always say this caveat when this discussion comes up. If we were being raped with taxes, like we are being, but our schools were operating at 100%, our teachers were fucking teaching curriculums that were building fucking young Americans into being people that could compete on the world level, and they weren't pushing all their bullshit woke agendas. They were teaching our kids how to be physically, mentally, and spiritually tough while educating them and making them extremely intelligent. So when they graduate, they can go take on the world. Okay? If our schools were doing that, if our infrastructure was phenomenal, we had fucking stellar roadways, our bridges were strong, fucking all the infrastructure that supports any type of government service, our schools were fucking pristine. If all that was good, right? And our law enforcement was keeping our communities safe, keeping our streets clean, keeping criminals at bay. And the prosecutors were putting the bad apples in jail. Like the way that a fucking society should be ran. And anyone with fucking common sense would agree with me that all those things would be fucking great. If we were living in a society like that, you could bring the argument to the table. Greg, this is why we have these taxes. Look what we're doing with them. Show me what you're doing with my fucking money. Show me. Because every time there's a government audit, we find fraud. We find that it gets fucking divvied up into 20 different little fucking allotments, and then half of them get circled back around into your re-election campaign, and your fucking, the people that helped you get promoted then get a cut, and it's just all dirty. Meanwhile, our streets look like shit. Our cities are no longer safe. Our infrastructure sucks. West Seattle Bridge has been closed down for fucking 2 years now because of fucking infrastructure issues with it. Hey guys, the bridge is going to be open by next year. Fucking 3 years to fix a bridge. And it just makes you come to the conclusion that they take. Meanwhile, everything that they're taking in order to build our society into a better place, they're squandering it. We're sending $7 billion a month to Ukraine. Try and wrap your head around that. $7 billion. Meanwhile, we still have fucking ghettos in every major U.S. city with young kids that are banging, that are addicted to drugs, that are fucking entering this lifestyle that's just a downward spiral of criminality. You think billions of dollars injected into those communities could do anything good? You think if you built trade schools and taught those kids how to weld and how to become plumbers and electricians, oh, that's peasant work. I just want to get a 4-year poli-sci degree and then get a $150,000 analyst job for Amazon. Like, you motherfuckers need to realize that the trades is what built America. And the longer we go down this fucking path of everybody being entitled and nobody wanting to work, those jobs are going to become more and more sought after. You teach those kids in the fucking hood how to weld, and then they find out they can make $130,000 a year doing it. Maybe that's a path to break the cycle. But what the fuck do I know? What I do know is we're not trying. Am I right? I don't fucking know. But we need to try something. We're not trying anything. We're sending our money to the other side of the planet. so Zelensky can buy a $30 million mansion in Miami, Florida. The fuck are we talking about? The fuck are we talking about? But that's what we're doing. And the thing that sucks about it, it's your hard work. Like, we can call it dollars, right? But what are dollars? For most of us, dollars are literally hours on the grind, where we're waking up early, we're showing up, we're putting our work in, we're giving our life energy to something. We're working and giving our physical energy to something. We're wearing our bodies out. When I was a cop, my body was broken. 12 hours patrolling in a car with 35 pounds of fucking kit on your chest, breaking our bodies. That's what the dollar is. That's what it represents. They're stealing that from you, and then they're squandering it, and we're okay with that. You know, the last thing I'll say on taxes that's driving me fucking nuts is every year I have to pay $700 for tags for my boat. Just like your car has to have tags on it, so does your fucking boat. And what do they always say? They say, oh, well, you know, your car tags are for to help the public roadways and keep the infrastructure up. Okay, well, if that's your argument, and that's why I have to pay you, because I get it. It's a public roadway that was created and maintained by the government. And if you want to use this, we're going to charge you a little bit of a tax to drive your vehicle on it. I'm a reasonable person. I can listen to that and say, I get it. Who the fuck owns the ocean? What are we talking about? Like, I have to fucking pay the government to go on the ocean? And don't come at me with the boat launch fucking argument. Oh, will you use the public boat launch? Yeah, motherfuckers. I pay $12 every time I launch my boat. And then I have to pay a parking pass to have my truck and my trailer stay in the boat launch parking lot while I'm out on the water. I'm already fucking paying for that. And I have to pay the government to enjoy the motherfucking ocean. It's no different than when you have to pay the motherfucking government to go climb Mount Pilchuck. Do you have a Forest Service pass in your car because you want to climb the mountain? You know, all these old logging companies are the ones that made all the roads, not you motherfuckers. And you don't maintain it for shit, because anyone that's ever driven up to Mount Pilchuck knows it's horrendous. But I have to pay you to be able to fucking walk in the mountains. Does the government, they own the rights to the mountains too? Where does it fucking end? These cocksuckers think they own everything. And we're cool with that. Makes no sense to me. You know, another thing that I'm really coming to terms with is this LGBTQ plus movement that is just being force-fed down everybody's fucking necks. It has nothing to do with equality. And if you think it does, open your fucking eyes. You know, they want to really take every opportunity that they have to be able to attack the American nuclear family. They want they want our children, rather, to always be in a state of confusion. What does a family look like? What should a family be? What are the roles of the family members? Well, father should be a fucking strong, competent, capable leader of his family. Well, not anymore. And here's what I can't stand about it. The government is leading this charge, but then all these woke fucking corporations just fall in place and support it. And why are they supporting it? Think they give a fuck about anybody's rights? They're supporting it because they think it's going to make them money. So you're jumping on board this manipulative bullshit with hopes of getting a sale. Fuck you. It's disgusting. You know, I have a gay friend. He actually did the podcast. His name's Sebastian. And he's a fucking cool dude. And guess what? The gay community and the trans community, these people don't want a fucking spotlight on them all the time. The motherfuckers that are half naked in a parade rubbing their shit all over babies, those motherfuckers do because they're demented. But people that are just come to terms with, hey, I'm a person that's attracted to the same sex, they don't want all this shit. It's embarrassing to them. They just want to be normal fucking people. And so my buddy sent me this. And he sent me this morning because Washington State has had unreasonable amounts of rain this year. And now we're supposed to have a heat wave next week. So, of course, the government's coming to save you. They're going to tell you that the heat is coming. And this is a Snohomish County fucking weather warning. And it says, after an unusual cold and wet spring, a rapid warm-up is expected late this week. With temperatures peaking Saturday through Monday, peaking up to around 90 degrees by Sunday. This level of heat will pose a moderate risk of heat-related illness. And then it goes on to say, furthermore, area rivers continue to run high and cool as a result of the wet spring we had, with water temperatures being between 40 and 50 degrees. This combination of factors significantly increases the concern for cold and high water incidents. Cold water shock and hypothermia can result in death during these seasons. Use extreme caution when recreating near water. Wear a life jacket. Watch your children. Thanks for that. We really appreciate you telling me that when the river's high and it's running faster than normal, that I need to watch my fucking daughter that's by it. If I hadn't read that, all my fucking kids would probably get swept downstream next time we're out on our property. It's just fucking embarrassing. Treating us like we're fucking babies. You motherfuckers, like, and that's somebody's job. There's your tax dollars. Some cocksucker writing you a thing about being careful about warm weather coming. And so I responded to him. I said, what a fucking joke. They want people weak and afraid. I said, the government is run by a bunch of faggots. And then in quotations, I said, or parentheses, I said, meaning weak bitches. Nothing derogatory towards you or your peeps. And this is his response. He goes, I'm not a faggot, so this works, LOL. And it's very accurate. At this point, I'd rather just say I'm a man that is attracted to man, or that is attracted to men, and not gay. Think about that. He doesn't want all these stupid fucking titles, but everybody wants to fucking live in this fucking world where every single person is special and celebrated. But you have to know, they're not doing it to make people feel special or make people feel celebrated. They're doing it to divide us and attack us. And if you think otherwise, I promise you, you're wrong. You think the government cares that you're trans? You think they appreciate that? You think they want to help you because you're trans? It's time to wake the fuck up. They don't want to help you because you're trans, just like they don't want to help me for being straight. They don't want to help you because you're black, just like they don't want to help me for being white. This is one of their techniques to be able to constantly stir the pot and then attack any sense of normality. And once they can attack that, then what you find is a generation of confused fucking people. And confused people, guess what? Easier to fucking control. And so the fact that the government is buying in to this LGBTQ bullshit is it's just a fucking joke. The Navy released this video. This is Navy doctrine. Right? You know how when you're part of any government organization, you have like weekly online training that you have to do? And it's absolutely fucking insane. how much shit. Like that was a big portion of being a police officer. All right, online training this week. And yeah, some of it's good, but a lot of it's fucking bullshit. And listen to this. This is for the Navy. This is for a branch of our military. Make no mistake about it. The military's job is to kill human beings. And this is what they want to push.
Hi, my name is Johnny and I use he, him pronouns.
Hi, and I am Kanchi and I use she, her pronouns.
And we're here to talk about pronouns.
What is a pronoun? A pronoun is how we identify ourselves apart from our name, and it's also how people refer to us in conversations.
Using the right pronouns is a really simple way to affirm someone's identity. It is a signal of acceptance and respect.
If it's a signal of acceptance and respect, how do we go about creating a safe space for everybody?
That's a good question. A really good way to do that is to use inclusive language. Instead of saying something like, hey guys, you can say, hey everyone, or hey team.
Nope, we're not making.
Can you believe that? Instead of, we're talking to service members. They're telling service members that instead of saying, hey guys, can we circle up real quick? I got something I want to bring to your attention. It would be better if you'd say, hey team, or hey everybody. We want inclusive language. The military's not inclusive, you stupid motherfucker. The military's the opposite of that. It's exclusive. You have members of your team that we have to speak to a certain way. We have to stand at parade rest for certain people. We have to stand at attention for certain people. When certain members of the team walk into your room, you have to snap to the position of attention. You have to call out attention to the other men in your room in case they didn't know that this person entered the room, okay? In the military, we're not all equal. In the military, our worth is very often determined by the fucking rank sewn on your collar. So get your fucking bullshit out of here. Now, I could go on a tangent about rank as well, because I do not think that that is what determines value. And for the people that do, you're part of the problem. But to say that we're going to be inclusive, rank and the structure in which our military operates under is the opposite of that. So shut the fuck up. And I know I'm crazy Anderson, but every single officer in that chain of command, and I don't know the naval officer terms, but for the Army, it would be from a fucking butter bar lieutenant all the way up into a general. Every single officer that saw that video and then pushed it out to their men and their women should be fucking fired and fucking have the shit kicked out of them too. That's what I think. But what do I know? Fuck you. Coward, pathetic motherfuckers, admiral, whoever you are. You're telling me there's not an admiral somewhere that's like, get this shit out of my Navy now. Because behind closed doors, almost all of them are saying that. I promise you. Almost all of them are saying that. But just like we see in law enforcement, most of you motherfuckers are just too cowardly and too fucking cuckly to be able to say, you know what? This doesn't serve my fucking troops. This doesn't build fucking cohesion. This doesn't make my team stronger. This is divisive bullshit, and get it out of my fucking shit. And if you don't like that, replace me. And the one man that would stand up and do that, guess what would happen? He'd be replaced. But if all you motherfuckers would stand up collectively and do it, it would end. But most of you motherfuckers are too cowardly to do it. Even though behind closed doors, you would say that is absolute fucking bullshit. And that's why we're where we're at. That is why we are where we're at, is because most of you won't fucking do anything. And so I want you guys to hear another video in regards to the government pandering to the LGBTQ community. This is fucking pathetic. Listen to this shit.
Hi, I'm Officer Les from the Columbus Division of Police. I'm your LGBTQIA+ liaison officer. And we're unveiling right now our Pride Cruiser for the month of June.
So, I don't know if you could hear that because they're playing some stupid music in the background. But he's like, hey, I'm Officer fucking moron, and I am our department's LGBTQ+ liaison. And I'm unveiling to you this month's Pride Cruiser. And so it's a police cruiser covered in fucking rainbows and pride slogans all over it. You pandering fucking pussies. Like, what does enforcing the fucking law have to do with kissing ass to this fucking foul and grotesque movement? Nothing. But all of you guys will do it just because you're fucking pussies. And I guarantee you, my fucking department would be leading the charge on this shit. You know? And they used to have like, oh, it's Pride Month. And you'd see fucking flags around the port and all their bullshit. And it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And I promise you, there's plenty of people on that police officer's department. I mean, obviously there's some people ahead of him, way up the chain of command, if he got a fucking police cruiser, a Pride cruiser. I want to say this was in Columbus, Ohio, too. I might be wrong on that. But fuck, man. Fuck. Like, the overwhelming majority of people know this is fucking wrong, and it just keeps getting pushed. And it's just about distorting the American family. That's what it's about. You know, there was a picture that was circulating of a poster in a school, and it said, if your parents won't accept your transgender identity, we'll be your parents. What? What does that even mean? But, I mean, fuck. That's why my kids aren't in public school anymore, because it's fucking grotesque. All right, so public school. That's another one. And I'm not gonna go on and on about the public school stuff, but the one thing I do want to think about, and the thing that I do want to discuss, is the lack of safety. We've had a lot of people run numbers, and I've talked about it on the show before, about offering security and offering, checkpoints and denying access to people that don't have denying access to people that are not supposed to be there. And so all the stuff of the shooting down in Texas is coming to light now. If you guys remember what I said last time, I said, I'm not going to put these guys on blast because I don't know all the facts. Guess what, motherfuckers? You're going on blast now. Because as of yesterday, they're showing the timestamps, and they have video surveillance footage of cops with shields, with rifles, with helmets, all fucking stacked up on the corner, looking like fucking badasses. Their guns are pointed down the hallway. The only problem is they stood there for 14 minutes. Cops were on, and this is all coming out. This is no longer fucking like, oh, he's just hating on cops. Because I call cops out when they're shitty. Just like I commend cops when they're great. And these motherfuckers stood there for 14 minutes. And you know why they did? Because they're fucking coward pussies. That's why they did it. Oh, well, the commander said don't go. Fuck you, you coward pussy. There's not a man on planet Earth that should be able to stop you from rescuing children. And if you want to sit there and say, well, the commander told me this, you deserve to get hit in the face with a fucking hammer. The only acceptable course of action for you is to fucking turn in your badge, turn in your gun, get down on your fucking knees and beg for forgiveness for being the coward you are. If my fucking daughters lost their life while you stood by and watched, I'd be coming for you, you motherfucker. Those kids, those teachers, they didn't have training. They didn't have guns. They didn't have body armor on. They didn't have ballistic shields. You motherfuckers had all of this. And you're still too fucking cowardly to go in there and get the job done. Are you that fucking afraid? Are you that fucking scared? What are you scared of? I might get shot. Welcome to being a cop, you stupid motherfucker. When you signed on the profession and they issued you body armor and a helmet and a rifle, what the fuck do you think those tools are for? Why do you think you have those things in your patrol car? Maybe because you might get involved in some type of altercation that involves a gunfight. Maybe you should have thought that you're a scared little bitch, that you're a weak fucking pussy, before you decided to put the uniform on. But this problem runs a lot deeper than just the individual that raised his hand and said, I want to be a police officer. I'll swear the oath to protect and serve. It's all by design. They get rid of the strong cops. They figure out a way to weed out the ones that are non-compliant, weed out the ones that are defiant, weed out the ones that can stand on their own 2 feet. They continuously figure out ways through fucking policy, through hiring, through the vaccine. They figure out all these different methods to get rid of the people that are motherfuckers. And now you're left with a force of people that won't even go rescue babies. I fantasize about the opportunity to fucking take out an active shooter when I was a cop. You come into my community with your fucking bullshit, I'm going to fucking shoot every single round I have on me into your fucking face. And then when I go Winchester, I'm going to take this fucking fire extinguisher off the wall of the classroom and I'm going to continue to bash your fucking skull in until it's a fucking soupy mess on the floor. If you fuck with the children in my community, that's what's coming for you, you motherfucker. But nope. When you hire fucking cowards and fat bitches that don't have any fucking drive to be good at their job, when they need to perform their job, they hide around the corner. And you want to be surprised. I criticize fat fucking cops all the time on this show. All the fucking time on this show. You want to be a fucking cop, but you're not training. You want to be a fucking cop, but you won't control what food you put in your mouth. That tells me right there your dedication to the job. That tells me right there is no dedication to the job. So you want to fucking act surprised when they all hide? Nobody goes in and saves our fucking babies? You want to act surprised? No, that's what happens when you have a bunch of fat, weak motherfuckers that won't hold themselves to a standard. That's what happens. So don't act fucking surprised. It's fucking gross. It's pathetic. And I believe they deserve the fucking gallows. But don't act surprised. And the motherfucker that said, stand down, wait, stand down, that violated every single piece of active shooter doctrine that's ever been written. Off with your head too, you cocksucker. Fucking coward. I wonder what his motivation was. How far down the conspiratorial rabbit hole would you like to go with that one? Was he being directed to do that? Did they want a massive fucking violent incident? You know, I go back and forth on this stuff because on one hand, I would think, no way, nobody, even the fucking corruption would kill kids. But then the other side of it is, never put anything past these motherfuckers. Ever. You know, I was talking to Mitch Aguiar, who's a good friend of mine. Everybody knows Mitch. I was talking to him yesterday, and we were talking about this stuff. And he goes, bro, it's tough coming to terms with that we gave a decade of our life going all over the world, kicking in people's doors and doing raids, recons, and ambushes and fighting people in their backyards. And now I'm coming to terms with we were the bad guys. And I'm like, yeah, bro, that's a heavy thing to think about. And by saying we were the bad guys. It takes some humility. It takes a certain amount of introspection to be able to say, man, I was serving a government that I now believe is clearly corrupt. And, you know, we both joked. We're like, bro, like back in the day, back when we were running and gunning, when people would bring up 9/11 being an inside job, I'd get angry with them. I'd say, you motherfuckers, like, shut up. I'm over here fucking risking my life every fucking day fighting these vile human beings. And you just want to fucking make it a big joke, big conspiracy. Shut the fuck up. But that was my 25-year-old self that wasn't as capable of critically thinking as I am now. But also, I trusted the government. The government would never do that. Have you lost your fucking mind? The government would never do that. Well, now that I see clearly that the government will do whatever they can to maintain power and maintain wealth and keep you down, I have to now revisit that in my mind and say, man, what were all the facts and circumstances? What really happened? Will I ever fucking know? I don't know. And I'll get a bunch of emails, dude, watch Loose for Change and this and that. And it's like, yeah, I get it. Tower 7 went down on its own. I get it. There's a lot of shit that when you look into it, it doesn't make much sense, does it? But I'm also very reluctant these days to draw a conclusion when I don't know all the facts and circumstances. And I've arrived at a place, and it took me 40 years to get here. I've arrived at a place where I'm comfortable saying, man, I don't fucking know. If I had to bet, I would say this or that, and I'm leaning towards this or that. But at the end of the day, I don't know. And there's still a lot of things in our society that the conclusion I draw is I don't know. And to a certain extent, all the New World Order stuff, the globalist stuff, I 100% believe there are nefarious players. There are people that want to subjugate you. There are people that want depopulation. And a lot of our governments are being bought and paid for by these people. I believe that to be 100% true in fact. But then there's also tons of stuff that I see where people just keep going off the cliff with their crazy. And the reason I know that to be true is because I've had a lot of people come after me. He's an undercover agent, and the way you know he's an undercover agent is because he has a 33 in his Instagram title, and then he wears a shirt that has an eagle on it, and here's a picture of it, and that's a satanic symbol that's been associated with the Masonic temple since 1826, and it's like, oh, fuck, dude. So those people are out there too. And their head's so far up their ass, they can't see 5 inches in front of their fucking face. So it's difficult to navigate what's true and what's bullshit. But what we know is our government's not on our side. That's what we know. And so what do we do with that? And where do we go with that? You know, a lot of crazy stuff continuing to happen. But I want to end this with a reminder. And that reminder is this: personal excellence is the way that we win. I'm reading Cam Haines' book right now, Endure. And it's because I'm on 75 hard again. I'm on day 7, so I'm just getting started. But I feel good this time. I'm in a stride. And I'm short of something catastrophic. I have no doubts that I'll succeed this time. But why I bring this up is just remember, this is Andy Frisella 101. And anyone that is not familiar with Andy Frisella, check out his podcast, Real AF. He is a friend of mine. I've done his show before. He is an entrepreneur. I mean, if you're listening to me, you already know who Andy is, so I should just shut the fuck up. But the truth is, he's onto some stuff. And one thing that he preaches a lot on his show is something that I'm in complete agreement with, and something I've been preaching on my show, is that capability starts with personal excellence. So if you're mad at the government, if you're mad at fucking Fauci, you're mad at fucking this and that, and you want to see change in the government, you want to see change in your community, just remember, motherfucker, all that starts with you. It starts with when you wake up. It starts with you lacing your tennis shoes up and getting in some miles, or going to the gym, or getting on the mats, fueling the machine with strong, nutritiously dense food, building relationships with the people to your left and right that are meaningful, having a tribe of people that will support you, and then you will in turn support them back. That stuff is extremely important right now. And if we would all wake up and say, you know what? I'm going to be a better version of Greg Anderson tomorrow than I am right now. If that was everybody's personal goal, the country would turn around. And you know why it would? Because it would be impossible to not have collective greatness if everybody was collectively trying to become great. I talk about that at my Guns and Geese program. Day one, when everybody shows up. You got fit people, you got out of shape people, you got high level IPSC shooters, you have SWAT officers, you have people that have never picked up a gun before in their life, and the same thing with jiu-jitsu. Day one white belts never put a gi on, high level black belts, and everyone in between. But you know why it works? The reason it works flawlessly, and we've done 5 classes now, the reason it works every fucking time is because that group of 30 people are all there with one mission. I'm going to leave a better version of myself after this weekend. When you surround yourself with people that want to grow, that want to improve, you will inevitably grow and improve as well. And when that's the vibe you're living in, it's fucking powerful. So how do we get that vibe in our communities? It starts with you. And then it starts with you influencing those around you and your friends and your family. And then they start to influence their friends and their family. And it's the ripple effect. Once we are all great and we are chasing fucking the best version of ourselves, that's the ticket to freedom. They want you fat, sick, weak, afraid, compliant, all the things we talk about all the time. And as soon as you step outside of that role into a person that is strong and defiant and passionate and loving and unafraid and fearless, once you're that person, they no longer have the ability to control you. And once the ability is gone, the show's over. That's it. So we could find our freedom just through fucking personal excellence. It might not even have to go to an actual conflict. You have to understand that, and it's important. And the most important people in your life to try and develop this concept with are the young people. Take them out, show them, give them life experiences, lead from the front. It doesn't just have to be your children. My jiu-jitsu team, we have tons of kids, and now I get to find myself in a position influencing the kids in my team, having talks like this with them, telling them that the world is not fair, telling them that the world is not easy, telling them that 15th place doesn't get a trophy and that the hardest worker in the room gets rewarded. All this stuff is important. Taking them on experiences where they're going to be pushed physically, mentally, and emotionally. You know, my boys that I talk about on the show, often, they're not blood, but I consider them family. And I've been a figure in their life since they were little boys. You know, one time I said, hey, let's go on a hike to this place called Independence Lake. And it was snowing out. I said, okay. And so we went on this hike and we got to the lake and it was getting late. And we sat in a little campsite. We slept in the snow. It was wet out. We couldn't get a fire going. And we tried and we tried and we tried and we tried. No fire. So now we're in the snow. It's dumping. and no fire for the night. All good. We'll make it. We're fine. It's just cold as shit, but that's life. So we endured that night. The next morning, I don't remember how much it had snowed, but it had been like a foot. Fucking shake off our tents, pack up our bags, walk back to my 4Runner, and it is snowed in, and it is stuck. And I tried to try and get it out of there. We're fucking putting logs under the tires and trying to dig it out, and our efforts were just fucking futile. So here it is again on day 2. Now it's getting dark out, but it starts raining and snowing, a mixture of both, and we're wet. This is fucking dangerous. This is where hypothermia sets in. Some of the most dangerous conditions are not the coldest conditions. Some of the most dangerous conditions are 33 degrees and raining, because wet gets you fucking dead. So I did a map check and I said, listen, boys, we need, and it was early too. It was just starting to, or early in the year. Like I knew that the potential for the snows to continue and continue and continue wasn't going to get any better. So if we just got in the 4Runner and said, all right, let's see what happens tomorrow, there'd be another foot of snow. So I said, we have to get off this mountain. And by looking at the map, the nearest road is 13 miles away, which means we're going on a 13-mile jog, and it starts right now. And we did. 13 miles later, a half marathon in the snow with 2 young boys, drenched to the bone, cold as shit. It was getting dark out. We start hitchhiking because now we're on the road. And car after car after car passed us and didn't pick us up. And finally, a pickup truck pulled to the side of the road. And he goes, hey, you guys need some help? And I said, bro, just let us hop in the bed of your truck. We're wet, we're dirty, we're sweaty. I don't expect you to let us in your cab and fucking foul it all up, but we'll just ride in the bed until we get to town, and then we'll call our family. And he's like, fuck no, get in the fucking cab. Warm up, dude. And he took care of us. But my whole point in me bringing that story up, take your kids out and get them into some difficult situations. Let them understand what adversity feels like. Let them understand what struggling feels like. And I didn't do that on purpose, but it was a byproduct of going out into the snowy mountains. And that's life out in the snowy mountains. Nature fucking wins. Nature will dictate how your fucking day goes, period. And you don't get a say in it most of the time. So, solo episodes, guys, we wrap them up in about an hour. We're in an hour and 2 minutes. That's all I got for today. Please like, share, subscribe, do all that bullshit that you can do. I love that the podcast is growing and that the network grows. But the reason that I love that the network grows is because we can continue to push this message of personal excellence to more people. I get a lot of messages from people talking about how they're down weight, they're training, they've changed their diet, and now they're feeling like a better version of themselves. That's the mission. That's not my mission. That's all of our mission. Together, collectively, when we pursue excellence, that's when we're unstoppable. And that's a big part of what this show is about. So please help spread that message, not only with my show, but with your own words, but more importantly, your own actions. Show your family, show your friends, show your community that you're going to be a better version of yourself today than you were yesterday. Be uncomfortable. Get up. Hit the sauna. Hit the ice bath. Go on runs. Make it habitual. And what you're going to find is, over time, your actions and betterment of yourself are going to start to wear off on the people around you. And collectively, you start to bring everybody up. And then the same thing happens with them. And then the same thing happens with their friends. The people you surround yourself with will do one of two things. They will build you up or they will tear you down. So make sure that the people that have decided to surround themselves with you are getting built up by you. never be the leech, and never be the person that tears others down. Because that is exactly what they want.